Coming up next on the forum, I'll be sitting with CEO and co-founder of Dress for Success Twin Cities, Jeri Quest. That's coming up next on the forum. Thank you for watching SPNN's Forum. I'm your host, Sanni. And sitting with me today, I have CEO and co-founder from Dress for Success Twin Cities, Jeri Quest. Thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure, Sanni. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for letting us come out to the space, too.
Yeah, I'm always excited to show off our space.
You should be. It's a nice looking space.
I think so, too.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
How was all of this born? How did this all start?
Well, I joined 3 other women who were interested in starting a Dress for Success here in the Twin Cities, and we came together in April of 2009. There hadn't been a Dress for Success here in the Twin Cities before, and the 4 of us got together and decided to go ahead and get it started. Okay. Dress for Success is actually an international organization, and it's headquartered in New York City. So we all operate as independent nonprofits. We all have our own 501c3 designation. We all raise our own funds. And Dress for Success provides the program outlines and best practices. But you're really on your own when you start a Dress for Success.
Okay.
So it was wonderful to have co-founders along with me, so I didn't have to do it all by myself. Okay. And we got together, figured out what jobs needed to be done to get this thing going, and I wrote the business plan because I come out of the business sector.
Yeah, I want to know what was your history that helped you?
I come out of the business world, and I took that job on, and before I knew it, we were approved in September of 2009 and found a space and opened up our doors in January of 2010.
Okay, awesome. So you say that there are different organizations around the world. What separates the Twin Cities location from, we'll just keep it in the country, not around the world, just what separates Dress for Success Twin Cities from all of the other locations?
Well, all the Dress for Successes in the world and in the United States all do the same core set of programs. Mm-hmm. So we all provide clothing to economically disadvantaged women. Mm-hmm. It's one of our fundamental core programs. Mm-hmm. We provide an interview skills class called the Going Places Network by Walmart, and we all provide the professional women's group. So those are the 3 anchor programs
that
everybody does. Okay. And Dress for Success organizations only serve women. So that makes us have that in common as well. What makes the Twin Cities different is we have an additional program that we've created unique to the Twin Cities, and that's called Professional Intelligence. And I came up with that program about 2 years ago because I wanted to help our women not just get a job, but keep it and progress in their careers and really start to thrive in their lives, not just survive.
Is that something that you saw them struggling with after you gave them the suit? And how did you know it? Were they, I'll say this. So after they were part of the original suiting program, were they just kind of dwindling off into the space of nothingness? Or how did you know that they were struggling with it?
That's a great question. And at first we really didn't even know that. But our women would go through our interview skills class and get a great job and come to our professional women's group, which is an ongoing sort of networking and monthly class that you learn skills for the workplace. Mm-hmm. And our women would come in, and a couple of months after getting a job, they'd say, "Oh, I don't have that job anymore. I'm looking for a job again." And I started to hear that over and over again, a constant theme. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. She just got a great job. How come 4 months later she doesn't have a job anymore? Mm-hmm. And I started to ask the women, what was hard about keeping your job? What got in the way? Mm-hmm. What were the problems? And I started to read and really explore this whole issue of job retention. And I've discovered that our women don't always have all the tools and skills they need to keep their jobs. Mm-hmm. And that was the impetus for the Professional Intelligence Program.
Okay. So what are the, for lack of a better way to describe it, what's the meat and potatoes of the program? What are the key things that you're offering women? Because you say they're lacking in these skills. So how are you approaching these problems? What solutions are you giving them?
That's a great question. all of our programs, we work to build confidence in our women. So even with the suiting program, we want our women to walk out the door feeling like they can take on the world.
$1 million.
Yeah, like $1 million, that they look like $1 million, but
And
they
they
feel
like it.
exactly. And that all comes from the way they engage with our organization, the work our volunteers do, the volunteers are just terrific. And then it starts to get into a little bit more of specific skills. So in the interview skills class, we want to empower our women to have that confidence, but also some practical knowledge about how to succeed in an interview and what to say and what not to say. The professional intelligence program, which is the new one that we were talking about, what we really want to do there is give our women very specific skills that I know from experience in the private sector, have helped me become successful myself. And the three key things that I think you have to know in the workplace is you have to know how to regulate your own emotions. You have to know how to be appropriate in the workplace. Even if somebody is getting on your last nerve, you have to know how to handle
Control
it.
yourself. Yeah.
Because leaders don't just lose their cool at every turn, they keep it together so people can trust them and learn to follow them. The second thing is you have to learn how to think critically. You have to be able to make decisions and be resilient when problems happen and figure things out when it doesn't look like there's a solution. You have to be really creative and flexible. And so we teach those kinds of problem-solving skills so that the first obstacle that comes along, a woman doesn't go, oh, this is too hard, I'm out of here. So we want there to be a real sense of, I can do this. I might not know how,
but I can
figure it out, or I know how to go ask for help. Because a lot of women struggle to ask for help. That's just a characteristic I think we all share. And the third thing is you have to learn how to handle your own money.
It's true.
So when you have a job and you start earning some real income, I think budgeting and savings is really important. So a big part of what we teach in professional intelligence is how to manage your money. So you don't have this great job, but you still have all this chaos
around you,
crazy stuff going on with your money. So those are the three key components of our program.
Now, is this something that you know from personal experience, that those are the three things, or that those are the three things you have to manage, or did a mentor tell you this? Is this something that you learned through life experience?
I think that I learned it a little bit the hard way through personal experience, but I also was able to be surrounded by some really wise people, both men and women, who really helped guide me along the way in my own career and helped point out the pitfalls. So if you keep doing that, this is likely to happen.
Right.
And I was smart enough to listen.
And look for the patterns.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I didn't always, and I've made some classic mistakes in my career, which I feel like you also learn from as well.
So what does your clientele look like? Who is a Dress for Success client?
Yeah. Our women come from all walks of life. It's a very diverse and wonderfully mixed group of women. Our only requirement is that our woman is economically disadvantaged. So many of our women have been in tough spots because that's how they grew up, and others have just found themselves in tough spots because of what's ever happened in their lives or decisions that have been made. So, but it doesn't matter. A woman comes to us because she's ready to get back on her feet, and the best way to get back on your feet is to have a steady job.
Right, right. So is it they can just walk into Dress for Success, or what's the process?
Our women are all referred to us from other nonprofit and social service organizations.
Okay.
So any nonprofit, any organization out in the community that's helping a woman find a job in any shape or form can refer a woman here.
That's good to know.
And the reason we do that is because we're not here to hand out free clothes.
Right.
We're here to get a woman ready to go to work.
To live a quality life.
And live a quality life. Yeah. And so we want to partner with her agencies because those agencies are helping stabilize her in another place, like finding a home, or getting herself and her children settled somewhere, or maybe she's leaving a domestic abuse situation and needs some real support around that. So that's their job, and our job is to help get her ready to go to work. So together, we're much more able to support a woman through that whole journey of getting on her feet than just if she were to come in and we didn't have any connection to our other kinds of support.
You've been doing this since 2009. Off the top of your head, what has been the most rewarding thing?
The most rewarding thing has been watching our women gain the confidence they need to change their lives.
What has been No. I want to ask the other half of that. What's been the toughest thing? What's been your biggest obstacle?
I would say, just personally, the hardest thing for me to see is when a woman gets overwhelmed by the chaos in her life and disappears. I wish we had a way to help all the women that need it stay connected to our organization so we can help them find the tools and resources they need. When life gets too overwhelming or too chaotic, our women just go, I'm out of here. I can't handle it anymore. Right. And I would wish that they could stick with us and let us help them find their way back.
Is there anything you're doing to maybe connect? I mean, because I know that you can't help someone who's kind of like standoffish. Right. Is there anything that you're doing in your programs that might help with that? Are you reassuring them? Are you mentioning that when they start the programs?
We do, and we have, over the course of our years in existence here, really built up a great set of external resources. So we have a referral or a resource for almost any problem a woman of ours could have. We have great partners that are there, and sometimes a woman just doesn't know where to go. Right. And instead of, again, asking for some help or guidance, our women just go, well, I got to figure it out on my own, and off I go. And I really wish that they could stay with us a little longer and let us partner with them.
For people who want to help, because obviously you have a really good team surrounded by you, for people who want to help, how would they go about finding out information to help?
Like volunteers?
Like volunteer, to help, to be in the position to help women. Like you said, in the suiting program, there are women who help with the clothing. Well,
we are a volunteer-run organization, because we've had over 800 women come through this last year alone. That's a lot of volunteers.
Just this year alone?
No, well, I mean last year, 2014 in total. And so this year we're probably be closer to 900 this year. We've had over almost 3,500 come through since we've started. And every single one of those women works with a volunteer to find the clothing, to get the resume skills and the coaching that they need to be successful.
It's a total package.
It's a lot of volunteer hours.
So it's interviewing and the confidence building and then the look. So it's inside and out.
All combined.
And then after they do that, then you have the behind the scenes portion to keep the job too. Right. So what are, I know I said what was some of the most rewarding things, but I think I want to know, like, what are your success stories of the program? Because you have these programs, how do you know that they're successful?
That's a really good question. We know a lot of what we're doing works because we have the women telling us about their own personal milestones and the things that they've accomplished as a result of being with us for a while. In our interview skills class, we know that we monitor our women 30, 60, and 90 days after graduation, and that's a 10-week program. It's a pretty intensive, I call it almost a boot camp. Okay. So they have 10 weeks, they're in this interview skills class, and then we track them 30, 60, and 90 days. Nice. And we know that over 80% of our women have found employment after 90 days of graduation from this program. Nice. So that tells me it's working. Right. Because they're actually getting the job, which is the point. Now, professional intelligence is the one that helps them retain that job. Right. We're still new in that program. So this is only we just started our third cohort. Okay. And my goal for that program is helping our women keep one job for 1 year.
Okay. Okay, that's nice.
It's right now we're just tracking the first set of graduates who are just coming up on a year to see what kind of success we're having.
Okay, and then you'll develop a program to like a 30, 60, 90.
Yep, we absolutely will. We'll track them as they go on and see if they're getting promotions and raises and ideally moving forward in their careers rather than losing that job and starting.
Right, because that's the very thing that you're trying to tackle.
That's exactly right.
So
we're trying to break that cycle of
just get a job, lose a job, get it. Because then your income stays flat. You don't move forward. You just go get that same job, maybe even a little less per hour, because you have 3 or 4 jobs on your resume after a year, and
that doesn't look good.
An employer's going, you know what? I'm not going to give you top dollar because I don't know if you're going to stick around.
I know you don't want everyone to think that the program is about suiting, but everybody wants to see the wardrobe studio, so let's go check out the wardrobe studio.
It's a beautiful space.
Okay. This can be a little overwhelming for someone coming in. I can see that. So explain the experience of how this whole suiting program works, like from beginning to end. How does it, do you do any suiting?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore. We have about 175 volunteers that do all of our suiting. Okay. But what we do is we provide two kinds of suiting appointments for our women. One is an interview suiting. So if she's looking for a job, she can come in and get one outfit head to toe to help her be ready for her interview.
What does head to toe mean?
She gets shoes, a handbag, jewelry, a winter coat if it's winter, pair of gloves if she needs them.
So she's completely confident on the day of the interview.
Completely ready to go.
Okay.
And then if she gets a job, she gets a week's worth of clothing. Because the last thing I want is a woman who's just gotten a job and has her first paycheck to go use it to buy clothes, even at a thrift store.
Right.
So she gets about 30 items when she walks out of here for an employment suiting.
Okay. So you said you don't want it to be like at a thrift store. So what is the difference between a woman going to buy her clothes at the thrift store versus this experience of her coming to get a suit?
It's a great question. The difference is that our women don't shop for the clothes. When they walk in the door. We have image coaches that are here to do that. They're almost like personal shoppers. So what they do is we know the sizes of our women before they get here, and our image coaches go ahead and pull a few things just to make sure the sizes are right, and kind of establish a relationship with that woman, and she goes in the dressing room and starts trying things on, and because they've had a conversation, the image coach knows, oh, my client wants pants, or my client loves bright colors, and then she goes and pulls some other items. But the difference is, I don't want our women spending their energy worrying about finding clothes. They're not here to shop, they're here to prepare for a job. And we want to make it easier for them to do that.
So how do you make them feel more comfortable? Because is there a lot of time to do this suiting?
It's about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So, but it's so, these women are so sweet. They come in, this job is a big deal that they're going to go interview for. They're nervous, they don't know what to expect. They're in some kind of crisis or having a hard time, and they walk in this place and they see all these clothes and they're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen now? So our volunteers are trained to really just take a minute and get to know the women. They go back to a dressing room and it has chairs in there, and they sit and talk for a little while, and the volunteer learns a little bit about what the woman's interviewing for, and kind of what colors she likes, and a little bit about who she is.
So this isn't a rush process at all? No, not at all.
If we don't take time to have our women, our clients feel relaxed and safe, they're not going to feel comfortable changing into clothes and showing a total stranger what they look like.
Right, and they might rush through it and pick something that doesn't even look that good on them anyway.
That's right, and then they're not going to feel good when they walk out the door.
Right.
And that's our goal, that every woman that walks out this door feels like $1 million and ready to take on the world. And we are so lucky because all of our clothes come through donations. So we have some really high quality items here. And we don't have anything on this floor that a volunteer wouldn't wear themselves. Because they're really picky. And they're like, don't put stuff that's old out here because we're not going to use it anyway. They want our women to look ready to go like everybody else.
Yeah. So how do you train your volunteers?
We have a training that's about 2 hours long to really get them ready to understand the process of how to do this, but also just make sure that they build enough time into the relationship with the client so that there's no rush and that there's enough time spent on making sure she feels good about everything.
So the difficult questions. Do you ever run into, I'm pretty sure, no matter how much you train your volunteer to be sensitive, you're going to run into women that are very, like, it's hard to crack that shell.
It's hard to crack that shell.
So how do you get through to women who are just like, I don't know who you are, you're telling me what to wear, I'm already on edge because of this interview. Like, how do you break through to them?
Well, we've had really good luck. We have a very well-trained staff. So if we have a client who's just having a really hard time, maybe she won't come out of the dressing room and show anybody anything because she's too uncomfortable or isn't thinking she's finding anything. We have our staff that's trained to go in there and just kind of help her through that tough spot. Because we really do need her to see herself in these new clothes. And a lot of our women have never worn a suit like this before. And we don't put everybody in a suit when they're interviewing, but our goal is that every woman that goes out for an interview is the most professional looking woman in the room. So that's what we really want for our women. Yeah, we want them to shine as brightly as they can. And sometimes they've never worn a jacket before or matched suit or something like that. So we have to give them time to get used to that idea. And we always get there. We've never lost a woman yet.
That's
so
good.
nobody's left here in tears, as far as I know.
Okay. That's good. And they come back for other
And they come back
too,
for other programs.
So on the second round, thinking positively, these women are
Yes.
getting the jobs. On the second round, does the volunteer, do they stay with them, or they still get a volunteer for the
Yes.
other week's worth of clothing though?
Correct.
Okay.
But they don't necessarily get the same volunteer. Just the logistics on that pairing up would be kind of tough. But they get another volunteer and they come in and they're usually very excited because they've just gotten a job and they're just like on the verge of this whole new part of their lives. And there's a lot more freedom for them to find clothing that's going to feel more like them.
I was wondering, is it easier to, by then they trust you because you helped them get the job in the first place?
That's right. And we are, usually what you get to wear to work is not what you interview in. So most business casual environments, we have those kinds of clothing as well. So women get like just really pretty tops and nice, sweaters and that kind of thing that are appropriate for a more casual environment.
Right. So these volunteers, they're empowering these women through their fashion sense, through their business knowledge. I want to be a volunteer. How do I find out how to become a volunteer?
You go online and you go to dressforsuccess.org/Twin Cities, and there's all the information you need to call us and schedule an appointment for a training.
Okay. Oh, just a training, no interview or anything like that?
If you have an interest in joining us as a volunteer, we're delighted to have you.
Okay.
And a lot of women go through the training and go, you know what, I don't think that's for me. What else can I do here? So all of the volunteer opportunities are shared with our women in that orientation.
Okay.
And then if you want to stick around and get trained to do this part, that's what happens after the orientation.
Okay. So one last question. How can people contact you? Referrals, if they have women that they'd like to refer.
Yeah, any social service agency can call us directly and ask to be a referring agency, and there's just a tiny bit of paperwork, and then they're off and running. And if a woman wants to come for our services, the best thing she can do is ask the organization she's involved with to refer her. And I'm going to guess almost every agency in town is somehow an agency that would be able to refer to us.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for doing this and sharing your space with us, and I know there's going to be women who are interested in this. And
I hope so. Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart, I can see that you're really doing a lot in the community, and so I want to say thank you.
Thank you as well. It's been my pleasure.
My name's Sanni, and you've been watching SPNN's Forum.